Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Happy Monday, or happy Tuesday if you're watching this on Tuesday. I always record this on Mondays, so it's Monday. But yeah, happy Tuesday, or whatever day you're watching this. I hope it's a happy one. Yeah, what a time to be alive. It is finally like really fall here, and I'm so happy. It feels really good to be out of the real heat waves. I think, knock on wood, we're finally done. It's gonna be November at the end of the week, which is wild. So yeah, that's fun. So yeah, here I am. I was not planning to do this tonight because I had something planned, and then a friend postponed what we were supposed to do, which was kind of good because it was quite the weekend and I think I need to rest. So I'm wearing my Cartography sweater by Tin Can Knits today. I knitted this a long time ago. I think it was like 2019, maybe 20. Oh, I might have knit this in 2018. No, it would have been 2019. Yeah, I think I knitted this in my second year of grad school. Maybe like you're not like this, but I have a lot of memories tied to like what I was doing or where I was like living or whatever when and my sweaters or knitted things sometimes, not always, but grad school was a very tumultuous time for me for a lot of reasons. And this sweater I made in my second year there. Like I said, I don't feel like that with every piece I've ever made, but with some things it really makes you think. So some time ago, my friend Monica told me, she was like, you should talk on every episode about a different sweater. She's like, that would give you something to talk about in every episode that wouldn't just be like you talking at the camera. And I was like, you know what? That's actually a really good idea. That is a nice way to like center an episode if I don't have a whole lot to share. And sometimes I don't have a whole lot to share. I just have like a couple things to show, and that's great. And so I will talk about this at some point. I will talk about why I need to rest. So because it's dramatic and funny. So I think I talked last week about how I was going to run a 5K on Saturday. So I did not anticipate that the course would be like crazy hills, like crazy. Like it was just like at this vineyard. And I've done these before, and it's like kind of supposed to be just like fun. And I had the last one I did, I had a really good time. I mean, I was kind of like horrible because it was racing a 5K, which is always horrible. But this one was awful. Like the course was just insane. I'm not doing one of these again. Like I thought it would be fun, and Nitin and I were like, oh, we'll have a great time. We'll run a 5K. Horrible. And I ran very fast. Like on this hilly course, I ran faster than my marathon pace, and I thought I was dying the whole time. Like I tasted blood at the end of it. I was hulking so hard. And part of what I did, which was stupid, was that I bombed a bunch of downhills, which means I ran really fast downhills. And so now one of my knees really hurts. Not really hurts, but like I have runner's knee in one of my knees. So that really freaked me out. And I was like, what if I've just wrecked my last peak week like of training? Like what if I've wrecked it? That is terrible. So I didn't run yesterday as usual. I don't run on Sundays, but I was at church all day, so I was standing on it and it wasn't really hurting. And it was just kind of twinging if I went up and down stairs, and it's like a low level of pain. And I have a physical therapist, like who I'm seeing tomorrow as a normal thing. And so I will talk to her about it, and we will make sure that I know what to do, and my resting regimen. So I was supposed to go for like a 7-mile run this morning, and I didn't because it hurt to go down the stairs this morning. And I was like, I don't think I should run. But then like, as the day went on, I was like, I'm too antsy. I got to do something. And I was like, gonna maybe go on the elliptical after work. But then, cause there's a gym at work, but I was supposed to do something later tonight. And I was like, I don't think that I'll have time to do that. So I'll just go home and I'll run a couple miles. And I got out the door, and I was definitely favoring it at like limping a little bit for like the first, quarter mile, but then it totally went away. I was not running fast. The pain totally went away, and I felt a lot better. and I just ran slowly. Not that slowly, but like when I run in the afternoon, I always run a lot faster, just like naturally, because like I'm awake, and I hate running in the afternoons. I actually really don't like doing it at a time that's not in the morning. And maybe that's because I live in a place that for most of the year it's really warm, and so running in the morning is kind of your only option unless you want to die. But I don't know. Yeah, like last winter I sometimes would run in the afternoons, but I really haven't done that in a long time. And I felt disgusting when I got back from work. Like, and I think it was because I hadn't run. Like, my mileage is obviously lower because I couldn't do like my last recovery run on Saturday because of my knee, and then I was supposed to like continue running on Saturday, and then anyway, yeah, so rough. But I was glad that I got out the door and I went for a run this afternoon because I feel better. Like, I feel like a person now, and not like a ball of I don't know what. So I'm really glad I was able to do that. And yeah, I also haven't been as hungry just over the last few days because I haven't been running as much, which really messes with me because I'm not eating normally. So yeah, I have to figure it out. I've talked to my PT about whether or not I should change some of my miles to like an elliptical or bike or something this week so I avoid the impact on my knee, but we'll find out. I think I'm gonna, instead of running my like normal interval session, like mile repeats tomorrow, I think I'm gonna just go and run like a 10-mile loop or something, and maybe take it up a notch for a couple miles and see how that feels, but for the most part just kind of keep it regulated at a slow pace, just to, you know, just to be cautious. So yeah, anyway, that's my story. So here we are. And this morning, instead of going for a run, I thought I want to cast on a pressed flowers swatch. So I did. And I have these 2 yarns. This is hand spun. This is the first skein that I did, and I didn't put break bands on the Lazy Kate, and it was like a whole situation. So this one is like not great because there's some like bits where you can't think you can tell, but this was like the good crappy skein that I did at first, and then I continued spinning the teal from Feederbrook, and it got much better when I applied those yesterday. So those skeins are wet. I washed them this morning, and so I have a ton of this. There's probably like 1,000 yards of this yarn, so that's fun. Maybe not 1,000. It's probably like 700 or 800 yards of this yarn. So that's fun. Lots of this, way more than I need for the sweater. Hopefully there's enough of this. Oh, that's a piece of, I thought that was like that's a huge piece of VM, but it's not. This is mohair and merino, like, I don't know. This is from Vermont. It's really shiny. I really love it. I've had it in my stash for a long time. And one of the things I'm really trying to do actively right now is knit with deep stash, or like I've bought a ton of beautiful sweater quantities a long time ago, and I tend not to use them because I get new yarn and I'm like, oh, I need to use this right now. And so I tend to avoid using older yarns that I have, and that's bad because they're just going to stay in my stash forever. So I'm trying to actively go back to my earlier acquisitions and knit through some of them. And I like the idea of using this with a new hand spun. It kind of like puts a new fresh spin on it. So I haven't actually measured this, but I did knit a swatch. And here is what it looks like. So the greenish hand spun is not gonna pop out too much of this cobalt, but some parts of it will, and some parts of it will be a little more subtle. And I think that's really cool, actually. I don't hate it at all. I love this. I think it's super fun. So I'm pleased with this. It's a fun pattern to knit. I'm excited to knit it. Thinking about like knitting a hat or something. I could buy the pattern for the hat, but I've bought the pattern for the cardigan, and I'm like, I don't need to buy another pattern because I can't reverse engineer anything, which is sort of true sometimes, but not always. So we'll see. But oh, maybe that's what I'll knit with this. I think I showed this. This was just some like Coopworth hand spun I made a couple weeks ago, just like with some old Rhinebeck yarn, and I have this like Garthenor number 2. Maybe I'll do that. I should buy the pattern. That's a nice thing to do. I really like the look of it. It's fun. So anyway, maybe I'll do that. But speaking of patterns, I'm going to talk about my sweater, I promise. But before I talk about my sweater that I'm wearing, I want to talk about this because I just put this on Ravelry. This is my Forget Me Not cowl made from John Arbon Harvest Hues. I used 8 mini skeins, and then I used 1 main color. I was like, what? How many? Yeah, 1. So lots of fun colors. They all kind of gently shift. They're not super high contrast, which I think is really cool. Pops over your head like this. It's very similar to my Natalie cowl that I published earlier this year in the construction. It's totally, I mean, and it's obviously stranded color work, but otherwise it's quite different. This is a skein. This is the main color. They sent me an extra one, or I asked them to send me an extra one just in case I ran out in the main color. I did not come even close to running out in the main color of 1 full 100 gram skein of fingering weight yarn. So this is a pattern written for fingering weight yarn. I guess you could use like a light sport weight yarn too, or sock yarn, whatever you want. If you have a full skein, like 100 gram skein of some kind of sock or fingering weight yarn, you have plenty of yarn for the main background color, and then you can do whatever your heart desires for the contrast. So some people, I'm sure, will just use 1 color, and that's fine. I love that. I mean, it's your cowl. You should do whatever you want. I'm just the designer. I know people like get weird about like asking designers if they can modify their patterns, and I'm like, of course you can modify the pattern. Like, use whatever yarn you want. It's your thing. I'm so glad to provide the inspiration for you to be creative. Are you crazy? Yes. Do whatever you want. Publish a pattern if it inspires you. Come on. Like, I mean, you know, don't publish my exact pattern, but if this inspires you to knit like your own pattern on a Mobius twist cowl, you should do that. Oh my gosh. It's not a like copyrighted shape. Dude, do it. That sounds great. You should totally do that. Anyway, I digress. This is a great project for like an Advent mini skein set. And I write in the, did I write it in the description of on the Ravelry pattern? I think I did. Somewhere up there is my Ravelry link, or the link to this pattern on Ravelry. It's also in the show notes in the description box. But yeah, so you could do, this pattern uses, I did 4 of each little flower, except on these 2 purples I did 5 each so that I would have enough length, and I'm glad I did that. I would have been fine with 4 each, but there's a little more room. So for Advent, if you have a 12 skein Advent, you could do 2 and then 3 and then 3. That would get you to the same, because there's 32 total motifs here. Oh, that's the beginning of round. I don't want to show you that. Sorry, I'm just like showing you the ugly part of the cowl. Yeah, so there's 32 little flowers or star motifs total. So yeah, this is really fun. It's wearable. It's super easy. The pattern is easy to memorize. You know, if you wanted, you could make it double the length and then not put a Mobius twist in, or put a Mobius twist in, I don't know. And like, you know, do like 2/3 of the total number of stitches or something. That's what I would do. You'll probably need more than 100 grams of the main color though, just saying. If that's the case, you might want to have 2 skeins on hand if you do a double. But yeah, I love this. I think it's fun. I have knitted 2 of these. The other one I knitted in my hand spun and Knit Picks palette, which in the hand spun got a little runny because I left it in the water for too long, which was stupid. Anyway, I gave it to Monica, so I don't have it. It's in her office. And also, I thought I had a Mobius twist in it, and I didn't, so that was stupid. But it's fine. It's functional, it's warm, which is the thing that she probably needs it to be. So yeah, this is fun. I love it. You can knit it in hand spun. That would be fun. Do your thing, man. Yeah, just knit your way. I don't know. Anyway, I love this, and you should buy the pattern if you want to knit one. I'm a great salesperson, clearly. But no, I'm really excited that I've published it and it's out in the world. So that's fun. Yeah. What else? Let's talk about my sweater. So this sweater is, again, like I said, the Cartography sweater by Tin Can Knits. This was published in Strange Brew. It is color work all the way down, different motifs the whole way, and I did matching sleeve motifs, which is cute. Yeah. So I used Briggs & Little Sport to knit this. And it is, yeah, it's just like white and then just like 3 colors. I think somebody gave me the yarn, the contrasting colors or something, and I was like, what should I do with that? And made this. I loved it. Cartography is part of the Strange Brew collection, so it is fully laid out, although I think I might have changed some of the motifs. I can't really remember. It doesn't matter because they give you that huge pattern library of motifs to choose from at the back, and you can just throw in whatever you want, honestly. So I did this little motifs alternating with the big motifs. I did all the little ones in pink and all the big ones, and then alternating blue and green. And I find it whimsical, and I love it. And Briggs & Little Sport is a single ply yarn. I've got a couple of skeins down here. Here it is. Here's a skein, so you can see that up close. It is single ply. It's a little quote unquote rustic, so it's not super soft. I don't find this. I'm wearing this with nothing underneath except like my normal, like, you know, tank top. It's like my arms are bare, so no problems. Yeah, 1 ply sport, 4 ounces. It is 430 yards. There's a ton of yardage on this bad boy. This is the colorway light blue. I probably got it at Romney Wool, but you can get Briggs & Little from, if you're in the States, you can get it from Maritime Family Fibers. That's the newest distributor. I think the Woolly Thistle might soon start carrying some of the Briggs & Little yarns if you're interested. I know that Woolly Thistle usually probably has Lichen and Lace, which is a Canadian dyer that uses the Briggs & Little Sport as their base. So Rustic Sport from Lichen and Lace I'll link that specific yarn in the show notes. My Woolly Thistle affiliate link is up there. If you're looking for it, check out Lichen and Lace. It's really nice. I love that yarn. And the Lichen and Lace comes in 50 gram skeins. So they skein it, and they basically half of what you just saw. Still a lot of yardage though. Yeah, and this is quite a boxy sweater. There's no short rows or anything on the back because it's like a wider neck and it doesn't come anywhere near my throat, so I didn't need them. I did mess this up. There is the butterflies up here. There's a little mistake there, which means it doesn't end in the same place on the back because I messed up. I don't know if I did the math wrong. I think I had the wrong number. I'd done the wrong number of increases or something, and I didn't have the correct number of stitches. It was my own error, and I decided that I didn't care, which was insane to me. Like, to think of that now and like that I just like didn't care about that, like I'm like, what the heck, really? Like that would not take long for me to go fix, right? Like now having the color work experience that I do and like being really fast at it, but I think at the time I was like, that will take me 3 years. I'm not fixing that. And you know what? It has not deterred me from wearing it because nobody can tell. So like, you know, that is that. But yeah, in this day and age, I would fix it, but I didn't care then. So good for me, I guess. But also like, Emma, what were you thinking? Whatever. We were all 25 once. So yeah, I love this sweater. And my Ravelry page will be linked in the description box under what I'm wearing. If you're interested in knitting it, all the links will be available. You can knit this in a hat form too. I think it's in DK weight yarn. Oh, I think this pattern is actually written for DK weight yarn. So I can't remember if I just knitted a bigger size. I probably just knitted a bigger size. This is probably like 20 to 22 stitches over 4 inches. And I think I just knitted a bigger size. I did some math and I decided that one would fit me, and I knitted that size and I did not look back, and it fits great. So it's boxy for sure. I like it that way. I haven't worn it this season, but I haven't worn most things this season because it really just got cold. So I'm going to try to be better about wearing all of my knits and maybe finding new wonderful homes for the things that I don't wear as much. I don't know. So anyway, super fun. Yeah. Cool. So that's the sweater. Yeah. What else am I going to talk about? I am going to talk about, wow, my brain just went blank. Oh, Teeny, the sheep that I purchased the fleece from at Redbeck. So I cleaned all of Teeny. Teeny is all clean, all 2 pounds of him. It's not a big fleece. And this one is especially clean. I found out that you can make it even more clean if you use more unicorn scour. So here's the thing. I didn't put this in a lingerie wash bag. The only regret I have about that is that the fibers just get all mixed up. So the reason to put it in a lingerie wash bag is that you will, the fibers won't just become like this matted mess. Like they will stay pretty much where you put them in the bag because they can't get as loose. So nice and clean. Dirty tips, obviously. But those get combed off. Like you don't, those don't really go into the finished yarn. So, but yeah, nice. There's a lot of variety in this fleece. Like I probably talked about this last week, but like there's some straighter fibers like this that are like longer. They're more like guard hairs. I was talking to Monica about this the other day, and I was thinking I was saying it's kind of like Icelandic sheep, I think, in that there's like some coarser guard hairs, and then there's like softer, shorter hairs that are probably closer to the sheep, and they're like more crimped like this, and they're softer. And that's interesting. There we go. I don't know if that's gonna focus. Whatever. Anyway. Yeah, so those ones are softer. But yeah, these tips are like kind of gross. And you can't just like, I mean, you just have to comb them open. And you'll just get rid of that stuff. That just, it comes out in the combs. But I am enjoying using this for practice. This is not going to make a killer yarn. It's going to make a functional yarn. And that's fun. I will knit some things with it. They will probably be more like outerwear. Yeah, so that's like, it's hard. The reason this is difficult, because I didn't put in a lingerie wash bag, is because you have to like pull every lock apart and be like, where's the tip end and where's the cut end, and put it in the combs that way. So that's a little annoying. So do put it in a wash bag. I will be getting more wash bags because I just couldn't find one. And I was like, I need to wash this, please. And I don't want to wait for one to like come from Amazon or something. I was impatient. That's okay. I learned a lesson of like, that's why you do that. It's just like, really just saves time. So yep, no harm, no foul. It's just gonna take me a little longer to like pull out each tip or pull out each, lock and put it on the combs, but that's okay. Again, no one gets hurt in that process of that. So anyway, that was fun. Fun to wash. Glad it's washed because it doesn't smell great. I mean, the unicorn scour makes it not smell like wet wool, but it makes it smell kind of like chemicals, which Jordan and I don't really like. So, yeah, lots of tip kind of bleachness and grossness, but again, it comes out in the combs, so it's okay. This one was, I used like a little, just more of a glug of unicorn scour in this last batch that I washed, and oh my gosh, the final rinse I did, so I do 2 rinses with unicorn wash. It's not a rinse, I guess it's a wash. 2 rounds of unicorn wash on the stove boiling, to a boiling point, and then I usually do, again, a 3rd time with no soap. And when I put the fleece back in the water for the 3rd wash, no lanolin or dirt or anything came out. The water was clear. And so I just let it sit there. I didn't even put it on the stove. Just let it sit there in hot water. Yeah, this is gross. I'm just sitting here picking this apart. So that was fun. Yeah. And I have started spinning it. I can't really show it to you, but I'll show you some of the processed like nestlets. They look like this after they're combed. It's pretty it's pretty gauzy. Like when I did Archie, that stayed together a lot better. This one is better than Pimp Daddy, who like completely fell apart. Like I had to spin immediately off the combs because you couldn't wrap it up into a nest at all. So this is a little nested wrap, and sometimes they just come out. There's just a spot that's thinner, and so they just break apart. That's okay. I have a bag of these. I haven't done too much, but the fleece is clean and it's here, so I can just kind of do it as I go, as I spin it. So I have like 2/3 of a bobbin, maybe 3/4 of a bobbin here, and I'm gonna do another bobbin and just apply them together and see what happens. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll probably get something akin to a jumper weight yarn, so I will probably just knit it with some of my natural shades of jumper weight. It's all Shetland. I don't know, maybe I'll make a hat or something. We'll see. We will see what happens. Maybe I'll end up making a 3-ply next and see if that's how that goes, and maybe make a cabled thing with it. I don't know. I don't know what the yarn is going to be like. So I could like sort the fleece. I could have sorted the fleece before I washed it. Like there were things I didn't do that I could have done, like sorting into like the coarser parts, and I could have either just disposed of that or like did skeins that were like that on purpose, or a variety of things. But I just thought, you know what, this is a practice fleece. I'm just gonna see what happens. I can still sort it. It's just harder because it's all like, it's not felted together, but you know, it's all just like kind of massed up together, and you have to like tease apart each lock, and that's fine. But like I showed you some of the guard hairs. There is a lot that's like quite curly, and this is softer, so that's good. There's leaves in it because I had to dry it outside. But yeah, like there are much curlier bits of the fleece, which is fun too. So, but again, like you have to tease each of these locks apart. This is annoying. So if you're gonna wash fleece, put it in a bag, like put it in a wash bag, because it's okay. Like it's kind of tactile and nice to do that. And like this is just one big tip. Yeah, I'll probably do a few of these tonight. A few little nestlets. There's some like of the darker brown. This is really soft. I think this must be like an inner coat. It's super soft, but it's really short. So yeah, lots of diversity in this fleece. I like it. It's fun. I'm learning a lot. I mean, just about like my technique. One of the things I got at Rhinebeck that I forgot to show last week is that I actually got a diz. I wasn't using a diz for Archie, but I got this diz, which was really pretty. I wish that I could tell you who made it. It came with this, I don't know what this is called. You're supposed to use this to get the fiber through the diz. I'm not very good at that. I'm working on it. Sometimes I just like twist the fiber and I just poke it through the biggest hole. But maybe I should be using a smaller hole. I don't know. So yeah, if you have tips, please let me know. A lot of this is learning as I go. And somebody asked me, and I thought I would talk about it. In the comments last week, they said, can you talk about how you got into spinning? Like, did you use books or anything? And I thought that was interesting because I pretty much just fly by the seat of my pants with a lot of this stuff. So how I got into spinning is that my friend Monica had this wheel that her dad had built. And this wheel, again, her father built it. So it's not incredibly complicated, but it's an Irish tension wheel. So it's completely it doesn't have like whorls and stuff. It just has bobbins and an elastic drive band. And so the drive wheel is directly connected to the bobbins, so you can't change any tension. There's no brake system like there would be on a Scotch tension or wheel, or like a double drive wheel. I have a shacked mattress which can do all three of those things, but I've only ever used it in double drive actually. But as you've probably heard, Thelma needs a repair. She just needs to be tightened, so I need to do that, and I haven't done it. And then like I have an Ashford trad here, Felicity, who only uses Scotch tension, which is so there's like a whorl on the flyer, and then there's a brake band that goes over you can't see that, but there's a brake band that goes over the bobbin that you can tighten, and that makes it come out of your hands faster or slower depending on how loose or tight it is. Yeah, so I learned how to spin on an Irish tension wheel. Monica basically showed me how to do it. I got some books. Yarnitecture is a good book. Let me grab that. I will be honest, I have not read a lot of these books cover to cover or like deeply at all. But I have some. Is there another one? I think I have like other ones, but I'm not sure where they are. Must be down here somewhere. I don't even know. This is a spinning book, so I'll show you this. There's not another one up here, is there? There must be some. Whatever. I'm not gonna look for that right now. So Yarnitecture, this is a good book by Jillian Marino. Yeah, she tells you a lot of stuff. Also, she looks exactly like my friend Sarah from the side, which I find really funny. I opened that book and I was like, Sarah, there's a picture of you in this book. And she was like, what? That looks just like me. I was like, yeah, that looks just like you. That's crazy. Anyway, this is a good book. I can link a copy of it in the show notes if you want. But yeah, Knitter's Guide to Spinning. So if you're a knitter, it's good because you can kind of learn a lot of things like fractal spins and how to build different types of yarn and different plies and what they're good for and stuff. But most of spinning is like, for me, was just like YouTube and sitting there and practicing. So there's no like right way to spin. I say right way. You can take a spinning class, but like you can draft with either hand and you can hold, you know, pinch the yarn basically however is most comfortable for you. There's a lot of, excuse me. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to spin, just like there's a lot of ways to knit. So yeah, like it takes practice, I think, is the main thing. So if you want to learn how to spin, you need some kind of thing to do it, like a wheel or a spindle. You can start with a drop spindle because that'll teach you how to draft. So drafting is when you like pull the fibers out and create kind of this like triangle of piece of fiber that's clean. So like I always hold the yarn in my right hand and I draft with my left hand, and you basically take yarn and you pinch and you pull with your drafting hand, so your top hand. So for me, that's my left hand. And you feed it into the spinning wheel, into the orifice, I guess that's what it's called. And you pull it out little by little. It's a little felted at the end here. And ideally evenly, and then it twists. This wheel is turning, and so it puts twist into the fiber, and that's what makes yarn. So the drafting is the hardest part, is learning how to draft evenly, because it takes a long time, especially if you have a wheel with a pedal, like a treadle, and so you have to like get your feet to go, or your foot if it's just a single treadle. So you have to like let your feet go, but you're also doing something with your hands. So it's a little bit like learning how to drive manual transmission car. So if you want to make that journey a little easier for yourself and also not spend as much money as you could possibly, you know, on a spinning wheel, I would say an electric one is good. I have an electric EL 6.0, huge bobbins, 8-ounce capacity bobbins, way bigger than any actual wheel I have. Although you can get jumbo flyers that have 8-ounce bobbins, but I don't have any. So this is the biggest bobbin capacity I have. You can get one of these that's like the nano version, which is the bobbins are only 2 ounces. They're small, but it's much more, I think it's even more portable. Like, this is great. This thing is super portable. I have a battery pack for it. The new Lazy Kate that the EEW company made is really good. Lazy Kate is the thing that holds the bobbins when you're trying to like ply the yarn together. And I would show you the Lazy Kate, but it's hard to pick it up because this one has 3. I'm going to show you the Lazy Kate for my Ashford. It looks like this. One of the bobbins is missing because it's on the wheel, but it like holds it and then they can spin without friction, and a lot of friction, and then you ply the yarn with that. So that's fun. Sometimes, I don't know why it's called a Lazy Kate. Like, who was Kate and why was she so lazy? I have no idea. Sometimes I call it an unmotivated Catherine. But yeah, so you need something to spin with, like a drop spindle or a wheel or electric thing. And you need some fiber. And I read a lot of blogs and like watched a ton of YouTube again about like how to spin. Like Jillian Eve was really helpful. Apparently a lot of spinners are named Jillian. This woman goes by Evie, but her handle is Jillian Eve. I can link her channel below. And I watched a lot of her videos, and she's great. She's like she used to be a kindergarten teacher, so she has a very like slow and very like way of explaining things as though she's talking to a kid, so you kind of have to get used to that. But I think she's really funny, and actually it does help that she goes slowly and she really explains herself. And she's very passionate about spinning, so I like that. Yeah, and yeah, so that's kind of how I learned. Yeah. Oh, fiber. I read a bunch of people's like hot takes on this, and people were like, get Corriedale for your first fiber. I didn't like spinning Corriedale at first. I found the easiest fibers at first were like Jacob, Romney, BFL, Blueface Leicester, if you're wondering. I found Cheviot pretty easy, actually. So like I personally liked a little bit of a bite to my yarn, like a little bit more of a rustic handle. BFL, not so much. It's more of a longer, it's a long staple, but it's a softer yarn. But regardless, I found those easier to spin. If eventually I got released to Corriedale and I really liked it, but it took me a little while to kind of get there. So be warned. Yeah, and you can get a lot of fiber online. I can link some places that have it. Like you can get like a pound for, you know, $15 of like Shetland. Shetland is actually a easy breed to start with, I think, as well. So yeah, lots of different resources. But I would say the main thing way that I learned how to spin was practicing obsessively. Like obsessively for like 3 or 4 months, I'd spun all the time, which maybe was not the greatest thing. Like, I mean, I was passionate about it, so I wanted to keep doing it, but like also sometimes I hurt my back a little bit because I just spent too much time doing it. That was my fault. You should not change your body to do something if it's, or you should change your body. If the thing is hurting you, you should change the thing so that it allows you to do the thing comfortably. That's what Andrew Mowry always says about spinning. Like if something is making you hunch over, fix that thing so that you don't have to hunch over. Your tools shouldn't cause you pain. You should change your tools so that you don't have pain. That's the thing. So yeah, if you want to start spinning, I think that there are a few things to do, but the main thing to do is just be passionate about practicing, because that's the thing that will make you good at it. Because it's hard at first. It's really, you will feel very out of your depth if you've never done this before. But eventually, sooner than you think, if you keep at it, you will learn how to spin a pretty consistent yarn. And there will still be yarns you spin later where you're like, what the heck was I doing? Why does it look terrible? Oh, kids are having fun outside. They're always screaming like that, and it's like high school kids like flirting with each other. And I think it's ridiculous. But yeah, I guess that's just how they flirt. It's kind of late though. Usually they're doing this at like 3 o'clock, and right now it's like 6. So I'm like, wow, okay. Really? Wow, this time next week it's only going to be 5 and it's going to be this dark, which is crazy, because daylight savings is about to happen. Which is, for me, I'm like, this week is nuts. This was not a good week to get injured. But you know, I'm going to just work around it. Because this is my peak week before the marathon. So and it's a crazy quiet weekend. It's like Halloween. So like tonight and Wednesday, luckily I'm not doing anything, thank goodness. Just like chilling. But Tuesday night we have choir practice because Thursday night's Halloween. On Thursday night I'm going trick-or-treating with the family I used to nanny for in DC. And then on Friday night it's All Saints Day, so I have to go sing mass. Saturday morning I run 20 miles. Sunday afternoon I sing All Souls Day Requiem. And then Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday morning I sing regular mass. And I think the light at the end of the tunnel is that I get to sleep an extra hour on Sunday morning before I have to go back to church and sing mass again. So that's fun. You know, it wouldn't be peak week without my whole life being a peak week. I made some memes and like jokes about how this is the Holy Week of the fall. Holy Week is the week before Easter when you have to go to church every night. And I'm like, this is pretty much just as bad because we don't make as big of a deal of it, but like in some, I would be at church Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Easter. So I'm only one less this week. So we basically get Thursday off. It's Holy Week minus the Thursday. And also the Saturday service is at noon and not at 8 p.m. So that's fun. But yeah. And the whole choir, the whole choir is normally there for the Holy Week, but we're not having the whole choir there on Sunday. So it's just the staff, which makes things just move more quickly and stuff. So that's good. Just because there's fewer bodies in the room. Not that the volunteers aren't amazing. It's just a lot of work. So, yeah, I think that's it. I'm hungry, so I'm going to go make dinner. And, yeah, what a time to be alive. I'm really glad I didn't have to go do something tonight. My friend was like, would you hate me if I canceled Costco? And I was like, no. We could definitely cancel Costco. I was the only thing I was like counting on was gonna eat at the Costco food court, but I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. We have food at my house. I can make food here. Or I could go get something, like whatever. But anyway, whew, it's gonna be a week, so hopefully my knee feels better. Please send good thoughts my way, that it heals quickly and that I don't overdo it and that my PT says I can run. Yeah, thank you for watching. As I said, this has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye!